I remember once I was just going from shop to shop, and then this businessman like at a dealer shop in South Bombay sitting in Fort area, and he's like, "Par madam, मैं आपका क्यों सुनूं?" And I was just taken aback that okay, like this is my job, but how do I convince like a business person who has experience of say more than 4 decades?
Alright, so we are still sitting at this colorful Tata Play office right at the heart of Bombay. Nidhi here is the senior brand manager.
Yeah.
Nidhi, how long have you been working here at Tata Play?
So it's been almost 4 years for me. I think more than 4 years now. I joined in June 2018. So yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your early days, in terms of education, what was it like? When did you think that, in your career you are going to need an MBA degree? So to say.
I'm a typical engineer turned MBA, but actually after my engineering, I was working in a core electronics firm. Right. That is when I realized that maybe I am not made for the technical side of it. I did try for MBA even before that, but that is when my belief in management or taking having the power over decision making and everything else that comes with the management job kind of came into picture, and luckily IIM Lucknow happened after that.
So during this time when you actually went in to IIM Lucknow, what was that transformation like from your engineering days to actually working after that to now coming to a completely different world, right? What was that B school life like for you?
B school life for me was extremely eye-opening. There were so many talented people across multiple states, cultures, backgrounds, having various experiences in their undergraduation. I mean, it was humbling to say the least, I would say. But yeah, I mean, overall, it was a brilliant learning experience.
It's also a journey where you figure out what you are good at or what you want to do, right? Was marketing something that you always wanted to do, or it was part of your days at IIM Lucknow that made you feel that you're cut out for this?
I think I always knew that I had a certain knack towards marketing, but the first year wherein all students go through a common curriculum, that is when I realized, and sometimes while marketing was always like my primary agenda, but it also went through elimination, right? So operations as well as marketing is something that I was always interested in, while along with strategy, I would say. But I definitely knew that I don't want to be in finance.
Right. So at what point did Tata Play happen to your life? Was Tata Play there on campus with the role that you liked, or in general the company was something that you were more inclined and interested towards working in?
I was more inclined towards the role, which was communications. I knew that it was into marketing. I did not have too in-depth knowledge about what Tata Play, what are the different product offerings that it has in at least planned for the next few years, or at least currently there. I did attend one PPT from Tata Play, which was formerly Tata Sky. Tata Play offers a very good balance between a startup as well as having the trust and the legacy that Tata in general kind of brings to the table, right? And that was kind of a sweet spot for me because it gives the best of both worlds, right?
Tell me a little bit about the first sort of exposure that you have had here. I'm guessing that it's the management stint, management trainee program that you guys go through.
So my management trainee program, in fact, communications was my last stint, right? So before that, I was subjected to all different verticals, which I could not even imagine, working for, like for example, field service or customer operations or sales. I never knew the side of what goes on field, what goes at the distributor's office, or how do you go from dealer to sell, and how does competition come into play, the entire thrill of being on field first. And then when we moved to corporate stints, we definitely saw a different side of business from where, the decisions came from, where did they emerge from, what was the thought process. Because the management trainee program at Tata Play offers, very direct exposure, direct as well as a very enriching exposure with the leadership team. Right. You get to work very closely and understand what is that thought process, and at the same time you have the liberty to challenge it.
You mentioned about your field experience, and I would like you to go back in time and think about any of such event or occurrence that happened to you during those initial days where you actually started questioning yourself that whether I want to do it or not further in life?
This is an anecdote from the sales stint that I had. I remember going to a distributor office, and my territory was also South Bombay, but it is not the South Bombay that you usually see it, right? I used to go to the slums of South Bombay. The distributors used to be in a very dingy place, and everybody is talking in, you know, obviously they are accustomed to like 50, 60 years of business, and they speak in a very different language that at least I had never been exposed to. Yeah, I remember once I was just going from shop to shop, and then this businessman like at a dealer shop in South Bombay sitting in Fort area, and he's like, "Par madam, मैं आपका क्यों सुनूं?" And I was just taken aback that okay, like this is my job, but how do I convince like a business person who has experience of say more than 4 decades to just understand where am I coming from and what's the purpose of it. On that conversation, of course, I could not convince him very successfully, but I took a few days and then I went back to him. I went back with the overall strategy and how we are deploying that strategy across all dealers, and how that has also helped certain areas or certain pockets in Bombay sales office. That was the whole experience, and I finally managed to convince him.
How much of a shift has happened, if I have to ask you, Nidhi, from the time that you have come in here, the time that you have seen digital marketing being at the picture,
Yeah.
right, to now where, you know, digital marketing maybe is one of the most important things that a company looks at when they're looking at marketing in general, right? In your journey, how much that shift has taken place, and how do you think that has made you a better professional in this journey?
Oh, I would say that's quite a significant shift, not just for myself, but also I can see around me with how the company is growing, what its vision is. And I think that's the best part about digital marketing, right? It's so dynamic and it's so ever changing, right, that you always have to be on top of it. So when I joined, of course, the scale of digital first approaches were slightly lesser versus and it also comes with how the industry is going,
Correct.
right? Because at that point in time I was associated with the DTH side of things, and also I mean digital marketing was there, right? But even the products that are available to do digital marketing have evolved so much that it just enables you more and more over the years, right? And within 6 months I was kind of working on a project which was completely in a different industry, like in the OTT industry, right? And literally that was the birth of Binge at Tata Play back then, right? We were just experimenting. We just had like 4 to 5 apps, I remember, to begin with Binge, and as of today we almost have 12 plus apps.
You know, you are a manager for digital marketing, you know, is there any difference for, you know, the sort of communication that goes out, the marketing strategies that you use for a particular service or a brand or an app that you're working on?
Yeah.
Or is it like overall, when you are putting out things in open for Tata Play, the way you do it for this also?
When it comes to a digital brand manager, I would say there are certain things that are common, wherein you have to take care of the brand strategy, the brand presence, which is common in a traditional versus a digital marketing kind of a role. But there are many incremental factors. Now, for example, when you are planning a TV ad, you know that the TV ad will look on a TV channel, and therefore the ad's size, so to say, just giving an example, is the same. You know that a TV is viewed from a certain distance, right? And therefore the legibility of whatever is shown on the ad on TV needs to be in a specific way. In the digital marketing scenario, right, there are first of all multiple devices, multiple handheld devices, multiple web devices that you might be looking at. Also the ads that are shown, right, they are of various sizes.
Correct.
Sometimes you can see an Instagram story, sometimes you can see a native ad on a web page, right? So the legibility of every ad and what you take away from that ad is very different for different inventories. So that is just one basic example that I give in terms of how in digital marketing things become multifold, right? You have to ensure that the same ad looks great on a large screen versus a small screen versus different aspect ratios on the small screen, right?
With the kind of efforts that you are making, is it safe to say that you want to reach out to the more young audience and you have to reach audiences and not the other way around?
Right.
So what has been the strategy around that, and was it a challenging thing to meet coming in and, you know, seeing this transformation happening in the last 3-4 years that you have been part of?
You're right when you say that, Tata Play has always been a family brand, right? And we believe that we cater to every person of the family. With digital marketing, of course, the approach slightly changes when you have to reach out to the youngsters. You have to cater, and OTT needs, for example, are different from our parents probably to somebody who's a peer, or probably even kids these days, right? So of course the average age was kind of reducing for OTT as a content. Even the Indian 40-year-old or 50-year-old is interested in OTT content.
Let's talk about Tata Play Binge here now, because that's something that is very fresh in your memory also, and that's something that you have actively worked on as well, right? What has been working on that like? What is the kind of size of the team that has worked on it, and what has your role been in that?
My learning with Tata Play Binge has been immense, I would say, like immense. Currently, I'm only working on Tata Play Binge right now. It's a full-time role for me. And although I handle all the digital marketing campaigns, so to say, but right from building the digital presence on app, on web, how should that be? How should analytics be of that? The MarTech piece of it becomes very, very important in a digital world, right? What are the tools that you're using? What kind of communication are you curating for different entertainment needs? Somebody might be interested in Hindi movies, somebody might be interested in sports content. How do you cater to all of those needs while everything is available on Tata Play Binge is something that I do take care of as my day-to-day job.
Nidhi, you have spent almost 4 years here, and if you have to, list down the most important learning that you have had in your life, what would that be?
One thing which has definitely been instilled in me right from my first stint at Tata Play is customer centricity. And I think that is something you need to learn, right? Because you always think from your perspective. But customers, especially for a brand like Tata Play, range from, like, the range is very wide, right? So thinking from the tier 1 customer to a tier 2, tier 3 customers lens as well is very, very important. And having the customer at the focus of all your strategy, of all your approaches, of all your communication and every other decision that you take, I think that is my biggest learning being at Tata Play.
So Nidhi, you have spent some time here, you have seen how the nut and bolts work. What juncture you are in right now in terms of the career that somebody like you can have in an organization like this, and what happens next from here?
I would say that the opportunities are endless. Everything is digital first these days. At least most of the companies are moving towards a digital first approach, right? I mean, from here, at least from being at a senior digital marketing manager level, you can either go wide or you can go deep. I can explore functions from product, from growth to the entire acquisition, retention strategy bit of it. I can move higher in the communications or the marketing function, where I can explore probably ATL, as well as how does ATL and digital go hand in hand. And just having the knowledge of digital marketing is not enough. The industry exposure, the industry nuances that you capture, and that only comes with experience, right? I think that is what also will definitely help in terms of scaling up from here now.
A lot of aspirants watch our videos, a lot of students who are just going to be part of these schools watch this video, and oftentimes they're not sure as to what is the career journey or graph that they want in respective lives. For someone who's not very clear about it at this moment but have certain likings towards certain field, what would be your advice? How do they find their way out, and what is the best strategy?
My advice would be that it's okay to not know answers. I did not know answers when I was in my first year or second year of MBA. I was a person who liked everything, right? And it's okay to not have answers right now. Just try to explore as many things as possible. Try to learn from multiple different functions, sub-functions, not just about MBA or marketing, right? Of life in general, because that definitely flows into your thought process once you go towards the management side of things, right? You understand the customer nuances and everything. So I think just be open to learning and enjoy MBA life as much as possible while you have the time. And I think the rest eventually just falls in place.
Superb. Thank you very much, Nidhi, for being so candid in giving us answers and in telling us about your life and how that has shaped up. I'm sure some of the people who are watching this will definitely find this interesting and knowledgeable enough for them to make a decision in their lives. If you have any question for Nidhi, there is a link in the description. Go check that out and ask that question. Chances are that Nidhi will take that question up and answer you as well in the Conversations Cafe event that we will hold soon. Thank you once again, Nidhi, and I wish you all the best in your career for all the goals that you have set out for yourself.
Thank you so much. It was lovely talking to you.